All right, folks, so today we're going to be working with the tomatoes. I have done nothing to this garden since the last time I posted a video. The only thing I've done in this garden is water it. And a lot of people don't like watering tomatoes from the top. They want to use like soaker hoses or something. At this time of the year here in Texas, with the temperatures that we're having and the humidity levels that we're having, I'm really not too concerned about it. I'm not too worried about them getting mold or any type of fungus on their leaves. But what we do have is we have a lot of suckers, and the attack plan today is to come in here, weed the garden, stake up the tomatoes, and then prune them. They're ready for pruning. A couple of them, you can see some blossoms on here, and some of them even have little baby tomatoes on them already. Some of the tomatoes, one died, one is not doing too good. I'll take y'all in closer. We're just gonna plant new ones there. I'm not gonna worry about it. I'm not gonna fret. I have some more that came up in the compost, so I'll just go steal those and keep moving them out. So, like I said, we're going to stake them up. Is the first thing we need to do is stake them up, prune them. And once we get them staked up and ready to go, then I'll come in here and weed the garden. And then tonight we're supposed to get rain all night. We're supposed to get it from like 11 o'clock till sun up in the morning. So they'll get plenty of water. I'm not worried about watering them today. I haven't watered them for the last 3 days. And yeah, so let's get started. What I use for tomato stakes, you can use anything you want. You got to remember that tomatoes are a vine, and I even know people that will actually vine them up like a trellis, like I have over here for the cucumbers. And I may try that. I really would like to try that, but I'm used to using rebar. This is number 6 rebar. It's also 3/4 inch rebar. Okay, you can also use 1/2 inch rebar as well, right there. I like the number 6. I like the thicker stuff. Now, a lot of people don't like using rebar down here in the south because it heats up so hot that it can burn the plant. I've never really had any issues with that, but I've heard a lot of the old farmers talk about it. But then again, a lot of this rebar that I got, I inherited from my grandfather when he passed away. He had sticks and sticks of it. And it's cheap, it lasts a long time. This rebar that we're looking at right here was bought, I believe, in the late 70s. So it's one of those things where you buy it once, you cut it to length, you're done. Yeah, it's gonna rust, but it's not gonna be that bad. You don't have to paint it or anything like that. So one of the things we have to do is get in here and trim the suckers. Now, some people leave the suckers. I do not. You take them off, but you need to be able to identify what's a sucker, what's a vine, and what is going to be a fruit-bearing, well, I'm going to call it limb, okay? Before we start taping this thing up. And you might actually, let's see, I might be able to, nah, it's too much in here. Let me bring you down here. You're going to need a knife, okay? You can use shears. I sometimes use these if the plant's larger. Usually I just use a knife, but you really want to be careful. And what you're going to do is you want to find the main trunk of the tree, of the vine, right? The main vine. There it is. Okay, right there. And then what you're going to do is you're going to find a limb. This was a limb. And then this is a sucker. I'm going to cut this one off to make some room. And I'm also going to take that limb off when I'm at it. because I don't want that. So there's a sucker. Now, you can take this sucker, just like this. Take this sucker, put it in a glass of water, leave it for about a week or so, and all these little hairs will turn into roots. And then you can plant this, and it'll be a carbon copy of this plant. And I do that a lot of times. But today I'm just going to throw those out to the wind. Okay, so if you look here, here's the vine coming up, and here is a branch. And you can see it's just a clean branch. And then right in the V of the branch is a sucker. And what you can do a lot of times if they're small enough is you can break them off. You turn them to both sides and they'll break right off. This is also a sucker. And as the plants grow taller and I get them staked up and tied up, it's easier to see. But you can also use a knife. And when you're doing it with a knife, you do not want to cut. You want to cut towards the limb, not the vine. Because if you overcut and you lose the, like just right then, I cut into the limb and I didn't cut into the vine. I would have lost the vine. And so I'll take him out, throw him out in the yard. Tomorrow I'm going to mow probably and chop them up. Okay? Generally, I don't leave any limbs at least 1 hand width from the ground. So I'll probably wind up cutting him off too. See, here we go again. We have a limb and a vine. So I'll just real carefully cut him. He was small enough, I didn't have to worry about it. Here's another one. Here's a limb. And there's a sucker. And you can kind of see this is a good example of the different ways they grow. I mean, that's clearly a part of this plant. This is not. And so I will cut him, throw him out into the yard. Okay. The other thing that I do, you can use anything you want to tie up tomato plants. My father used to use old t-shirts. I think my grandfather did too, if I remember right. It's been too long. We used to use string. We used whatever we could find. I use garden tape. It's a kind of a Velcro-y tape. I just use them, cut them at different lengths. At the end of the year, I put them in a coffee can, and then when I need them, I just take them out of the coffee can. You know, and if I need to trim them down, I can. And what we're going to do is set this guy up, and we're just kind of just plant him up around this vine, this pole as best as we can. I'm going to come in here and put a little bit of tape. Okay, let me show you all that. So I put the tape up here. I put the tape up here. And when you put the tape, I put the first piece right here. I leave it a little loose, you see? So the tree or the vine can still move. It's just there for support. And as you can see, here's a limb. This is the vine. Here's the limb, and here's the sucker. And you can use, I'll show you, you can use your trimmers. And you just get in there and cut that guy off. And like I said, if you want to make more plants, you can. Same thing here. Now, here's the main vine. And this sucker sucked so much energy. And they're called suckers because they suck the life right out of the plant. And it just causes the plant to just bush into this massive plant. And they'll put on a lot of fruit real quick, and then they'll die out. So if you want to have really tall plants and have a lot of fruit, you want to get rid of those suckers. So I'll come in here and I'm going to cut that sucker off. Now this sucker This sucker is too big to try to transplant or put in water. When they get this big, it's probably not going to work. Okay, it just takes too much energy to make that plant live and grow. That's another sucker. I'm going to get rid of him. And then see, I already got blooms and a baby tomato right there. So what I'll do now that I have him here, I will probably take this piece of tape off, straighten him up some more, and move this tape up a little bit. And he'll start growing straight, as I'm going to trim these bottom branches. And the reason is, is if I have a plant that has good foliage that stays upright, I'll only trim maybe a hand's worth from the ground. But if there's any limbs that are touching the ground, they gotta go. They gotta go. I do not keep those. Because one, that allows a place for a bug to climb up. If there's a fungus or a disease in this dirt, tomatoes are very prone to that. These so far are very healthy tomatoes, and I don't want anything touching the dirt except the vine. That's it. So that's pretty simple. So far, I'm going to do it to the rest of these guys. So let's get going. I came in, I tied up all of the tomatoes, and I cut all the suckers off of them. And then I took my little garden tool, it's sitting right over there. People who love this, love it. People who hate it, hate it. There's no in between. I'm a big fan of these, mainly because it keeps you from having to bend over all the time to hoe weeds. And the way it's designed is that it scoops. Here's the ground. You push it forward and it flips the weed over. And when you drag it back, it catches just a little bit and it turns the dirt over. And so what it does is it exposes the root system on the weeds, and it breaks up the crust on top of the dirt. And so when you have a good sunny day like we're having today, and it hits those roots on those weeds, it'll kill them. It'll choke them out. And if there's a big weed, I'll come in. Any large weeds, when I go in there with my hands and smooth them out, I'll pull those weeds out and throw them out into the yard or wherever. You'll see all my little weeds and tomatoes, or I put them in a black bucket. Today I'm being a little lazy. And if you keep this crust broken up where it's fluffy, it doesn't give a good habitat. I'm going to say habitat. I think that's the wrong word. It doesn't give a good place for the weeds to grow as long as you keep that crust broken up. And so this tool here, I love it. Some people hate it, but hey, and I'll may show you how it works on the other garden because I need to weed that. So we got our tomatoes staked up. We got blooms. Look at here. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We got 6 plants right here. I'm fixing to plant some more, but out of the 6 plants, I got 4 plants blooming, and out of those 4 plants, I got 3 of those plants with already have little baby tomatoes on them. So, I mean, what more can you ask for? And so by the time December gets here, we still got almost 2 months. I can still get some tomatoes off of this. You know, I can be eating some fresh sandwiches. That's what I like my tomatoes on. All right, so those are done. I'm gonna plant some new ones, and then we're gonna go take care of that garden over there. So again, here's the tool. It's a really easy tool. The harder the ground, the better. There's a couple little weeds in here you probably can't see, but you just literally just drag it across the top and it breaks that crust up. It flips those weed roots over and it just breaks that up to where it makes water easier to go down. If the ground's a little harder, you just push down a little bit, but you can get under those plants. You don't have to worry about snakes or spiders getting to you. And just fluff that dirt up. Same thing, you know. And I mean, it just goes quick. It's easy. And that's it. I'll spread that dirt out a little bit. That's it. That's all you gotta do. And that will help with weed control. And that's it. It's easy. All right, guys. So that's it. That's all I got for y'all today. It's not a lot. Hopefully y'all learned something from it. My plan with these videos is that I plant a seed in your life, and you can see how easy or how difficult planting and gardening can be. It can be as easy as you make it or as hard and as technical as you make it. But just get outside, you know? We live in such a depressing world sometimes that it's nice to just get outside, spend a few minutes outside working with plants or in the dirt, getting your hands dirty and accomplishing something. And so hopefully y'all get outside and do something today. Other than that, guys, if there's something that y'all want to see or something that y'all have questions about, leave a comment below. Other than that, y'all keep it real until next time.